Good Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to the Volquest.com podcast. Glad to have you along on this Tuesday talking week. I'm not going to call it talking season. It's always talking season in the SEC, but it's talking week in the SEC with SEC Media Days. The baseball draft, Major League Baseball draft is ongoing. Lots of news with Tennessee and the baseball draft. We'll get a full update on that. We'll talk some Tennessee football. We'll obviously talk some recruiting. Lots of things going on today and going on this week with Volquest and with college football and with college athletics in general. So let's dive right into it. And let's just start with recruiting, Austin Price, because everywhere I go, people are asking me about Josh Heupel and this program being on a heater in recruiting. How surprised are you at where Tennessee's at right now? Is the rush over? Is Tennessee on the downhill slide of things? Is there a lot more news you think pending? Where do you think Tennessee stands big picture wise right now in recruiting at this point?
Obviously, a fantastic run to this point, Brent. In the month of late June, early July, the staff, was expecting a lot of good news. They've gotten a lot of good news. I do think that it's starting to slow down. You got Kamari Blair, who will, make his, announcement coming up tomorrow. We'll see what he elects to do there. Tennessee, Ole Miss seemed like the top two. South Carolina's still swinging there for Kamari Blair. Craig Tutts is headed to Oxford. And then you're looking at, what does Joel Wyatt do? Does he push things into the fall? If he does, then who knows what twists and turns you'll see in that one. Savion Hyder teased a date, but has not put out a date. There's a lot of chatter out there that it could be this month, and we'll see if that ends up coming into fruition. And the other guys are trying to flip. When you look at, Tristan Keys, Tristan Givens, or Hezekiah Harris, those are going to be, you're going to be in the battle for the long haul on those all the way till December. And then the one kid that's not committed that I think will come off the board somewhat relatively early in the football season is Brody Smith after he takes his last couple of official visits in September.
All right. So you mentioned that Tennessee has obviously had a fantastic run here. Exceeded your thoughts, expectations? What did you think it would be like for Tennessee end of June, 1st of July compared to what it's been?
About where I thought they would be. I thought that Joel Wyatt would pick Tennessee and not push things back. That, obviously has changed and slowed things down. Does not want to play edge. Tennessee's told him they can play safety. A lot of schools are, in his ear, telling him that. They're just telling him what you want to hear. Well, I would tell you that you really can't do that in this era. Like, you have to kind of pretty much mean what you say, or the kid's going to leave and it's not going to end well. So you just shoot them straight and go from there. But about where I thought they would be, I think for this class to go above and beyond, it has to land players like Harris or Givens, one of the two, or if not both, at edge. But to me, they've got to land at least one of the 2 5-stars they're chasing after, that being Tristan Keys and Savion Hyder.
Yeah, they've got to land, I guess, that. But, still, to me, it's about what they've got done on defense.
Sure.
And which is really, I guess, somewhat ironic, Eric, and Rob jump in here as well. When you look at this, for all of the Josh Heupel and the offense, their consistency in defense in terms of their recruiting success really has been pretty impressive over the last few years. And obviously, I'm not saying they don't have good offensive players in this class, because they do, but this run here has been highlighted about what they've gotten done defensively, which Rob says a lot about kind of the personality and sort of the identity Tennessee's created under Tim Banks.
Yeah, I completely agree. And argue for sure last year, and I'd probably say 2023, they were better defensively than offensively on that side of the ball. But man, William Inge, hats off. AP, did you see, that coming? Did he have that kind of rep?
No.
Those two kids last week, boom.
He did not, Rob, just based off the fact that he had always been on the West Coast and kind of recruited the West Coast and not recruited in these areas. But you look back to last year, Jaden Perlotti, Jaden Harmon, were two nice out-of-state wins. And then they get Brennan in-state. That's a nice in-state win. But, this year, I think getting T.J. White and then to get Braden Rouse was the big one. T.J. White, I think, is a really good player. But, and he had plenty of offers. But, at the end of the day, it kind of came down between Tennessee and Mississippi State. Rouse, you're beating out Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Michigan. I mean, it was a big boy recruitment, and he goes in there in the Kale, and the relationships proved to be the deciding factor when all things were said and done, and to get it done. So again, Coach Inge has done a nice job of building some relationships with kids, and I think it's paid off.
I think his room helps him recruit too, Eric, when you look at it. I mean, you talk to Arion Carter, you talk to the people that play for him. I mean, here's a guy that these guys signed up to play for somebody else, and they're playing now for William Inge. And Eric, they all love this guy. Now, I mean, to us, I mean, I think he's a super nice guy. He's a little quirky when he gets behind a microphone. Maybe that's being kind. I mean, it's a little unusual, but I tell you, I mean, the players that play for him seem to really like him. As Austin Price, if you're watching on YouTube, returns from his blacked out negotiator status or whatever was going on there. I'm freezing up. We got all kinds of stuff going on here. But it's interesting. I do think the room and the person, kids talk to other kids when they come on visits. They talk to players on the current team. What's it really like? And I think there's a lot of positive reinforcement about William Inge from the current linebackers that he has in the room. He seems to be very popular with that group of guys.
No, he is, and I mean, we make the joke that it's like everybody's got the jacket on, right? I mean, they're going to the Hall of Fame because they're the best player ever. But he is very much a player's coach. I think he's relatable. I think he likes to joke around and have a good time with those guys. But as we've all seen out there at the practice field, I mean, he gets after it. I mean, it's not all buddy when you're on the practice field. And I think they respect that, and I think that they're able just to kind of grow and kind of relate to him in that sort of way. But again, kind of going back to what Rob and AP were talking about, like, I mean, I didn't know much about him as a recruiter before he got here to Tennessee, but holy crap, man, he's done some work. I mean, the class that they got last year, I really, really like with the Jadens, with Ains from Page High School. And then you go into this cycle. I mean, you're talking about 2 top 100 players and TJ White and Braden Rouse. And that room, again, you go back to what Josh Heupel and Brian Jean-Marie back in 2021 inherited. So much better, so much deeper, so much more talented. They got a lot to prove, don't get me wrong, but I like that linebacker room a lot. I think William Inge has done a heck of a job.
Austin, I want to ask you a couple of specific questions. This is my mailbag from Brent_Hubs here. I do want to ask you, what does the tight end position look like if Snead doesn't stick with Tennessee? What do they do there? Where are they at receiver if there's no Tristan Keys, who we're not going to know about to December? What do you kind of think about those two positions right now? And I ask that with the understanding or the thought that we don't really know what the transfer portal life is going to look like whenever we find out whatever the transfer portal windows are, and who, I mean, is there going to be as much freedom of movement as there's been the last few years with rev share, right?
Absolutely. You don't know what it's going to look like until you get to December. If Snead were to, let's say, flip to Florida, I don't know what Tennessee would do there. They were recruiting the kid who recently committed to Kentucky. That obviously probably take a swing there. Outside of that, I don't know. Maybe go to the portal. Receiver, same thing. Celeste Moa is still out there. And to me, that's still between Tennessee and Utah. Could do something in the next, 24 to 48 hours potentially. We'll see as we tape this on Monday. And we'll see where he goes. His dad played at Utah. But he did push things back. When all the crystal balls and stuff came in for Utah, made me wonder, is there a divide there? Does the family want one thing and the kid want another? I don't know. We'll see. Ultimately, you've got, a little bit of time here as Kelsey Pope continues to work on Celeste, see what he ends up doing, and then and go from there. But if Keys doesn't flip and Moa picks Utah, I would say you're looking at the portal unless you have a fall eval or something like that where Tennessee can kind of, go in on a kid late.
This is for all of you guys because everybody covers sports. Everybody covers football. Or Rob, you've got basketball. Eric, you've got baseball. We all know what the portal has meant for all three sports over the past few years. Do we think there's anything really going to change about the portal? I mean, there's people talking about multi-year deals and you have to buy your way out if you're going to transfer as a possibility there. Rob, do you think in basketball or in football that the portal in terms of what the talent available in the portal, do you think it's going to change in any way, shape, or form? Or do you think it's going to be like it's been the wild, wild west in the portal world the last few years?
I think it's going to stay the same unless, Danny White gets some momentum behind, collective bargaining movement. I mean, I just don't see how you're going to stop it. I mean, the multi-year deals, I mean, maybe that'll slow it down, but I mean, I don't think that's going to be uniform. I mean, maybe a school or two will do it until you realize that, guaranteeing an 18-year-old X amount of dollars for 2 years is not the smartest thing that you can do. But I don't think it's going to change. I know Tennessee's head basketball coach looks at every kid he's recruiting as, I'm going to have him for 1 year. And that's his mindset. He hopes that, he's going to keep him, but in his mind, they're all 1 year players.
AP,
that's common.
AP, do you think it's going to change in any way?
I do think it has the potential to change. I think a lot of it depends on, kind of what kind of other guidelines they put in place here. I mean, if you've got to buy out of things, like I think that could shift a lot of stuff to where kids, alter how they want to do deals. I think there's a strong notion out there that the portal will be much slower. We'll see. I mean, there was also a notion this portal stock was going to be insane, and then I mean, like seriously, like talking heads, they say these things because somebody tells them that, and then it ends up not being a thing. And so, again, I just kind of take it day by day. And if I'm Tennessee, I like Tennessee's approach of recruiting high school kids and dabbling in the portal. I wouldn't want to live in the portal because the money for those portal kids is really steep for guys that are okay, not great. And the few elite guys that there are that go in, they already know where they're going because of tampering before they even get going.
Go ahead, Rob. You had a thought.
I'm just going to say, I mean, the buying your way out thing, that sounds good on paper, but they're not going to, in most cases, if a kid signs a 2-year deal, they're not going to get all that money. I mean, I don't think there's going to be anything to pay back. I mean, you're going to be getting monthly checks. Would you not agree? I mean, it's not like you're going to get $2 million in a lump sum.
Right. I think
you're doing a lot away from those contracts without penalty, would be my guess.
Yeah, well, again, what we all know is it's going to end up in a court of law, as everything ends up in a court of law, because nothing can get resolved. I mean, right? I mean, what are we in the 15 days in the rev share, and you've already got the collectives, saying that you're violating you got the lawyer in the House settlement saying the NCAA is violating part of the settlement ruling, with the collectives. I mean, I just don't have any. I'm the jaded one. I just don't have any belief we're going anywhere in the right direction.
I'm with you. And at the end of the day, the biggest thing for me is I just don't think you can restrict people's right to earn. I mean, you can't set the market cap. I mean, you can't restrict somebody's right to say you can only earn that. I mean, I think in America, in capitalism, at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing.
Which goes back to Danny White's collective bargaining, because that you become more like professional sports when you go that route. When it's name, image, and likeness, then you're capping someone's individual ability to be held hostage. Like
I hear his voice. I don't know who's talking though. He's trying to block out his face.
Life thing. You'll give $2 million. And you're going to get Austin back unharmed.
It'd be great if we could garble his voice right now. However, one of those Dateline behind the scenes.
That's right.
If you're not watching on YouTube, you don't understand. My light keeps going in and out because these little things apparently can't hold the power. They've been going for months and months and months. All of a sudden today, they can't hold the power, so I'm rotating them. This thing right here is like a hot hands right now.
I love it. It is, but I mean, I just don't feel like anything. I don't know that anybody knows anything. I think Austin said it best a few minutes ago. If you're in college athletics, I mean, you just literally are working day by day. But because, Eric, you just don't know what the rule's going to be at the end of the week, right? You don't know what new gray area there's going to be to play in. You don't know what they're going to change. You don't know what's going to go to a court of law. You don't know I mean, literally, it does feel like it's day by day right now, which, I mean, obviously doesn't affect competition per se. But, man, if you're an administrator and a coach, I mean, it's just like, all right, that's what we're doing this week. We'll see what happens on Monday.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of frustrations there. I mean, it might not affect competition right now, but it affects the way you're building your team. I mean, I know basketball already went through it earlier this offseason, but baseball's going through it right now all across the country. And, you know, you're working under an assumption that it's a 34-man cap, but now can you bring guys on campus in the fall that are maybe hurt? Okay, what's that number? The grandfathered in approach with the DSA tags. I mean, that was always a part of the House settlement, but nobody had any clear direction on that. And now it's here, and coaches still don't quite understand, how to go about this. So a lot of questions, but I mean, you got a staff like Tony Vitello, and they're just sprinting. They're not running. They're sprinting with, this is how we're going to build our team. This is how we're going to go about it. We're going to bring in a ton of guys, and we're going to attack high strikeouts, low walk rates. We're going to attack, not necessarily power at the plate, but we're going to attack, the on base, not money ball, but a little bit like that. And they've done a great job in that regard. But again, what you can do this week might not be what you can do next week. And it's up to, again, a lot of conversations going on with administration, with coaching staffs right now. So it's wild. It's crazy, which again is, continue to take Tennessee baseball as an example. It's just hats off to the roster that's being assembled right now. I know we'll talk draft here in a moment, but some big ones there as well. It just makes it all the more impressive.
Yeah, it's been crazy because of the unknown. But now you're sitting here and you don't know what's going to get approved for an NIL deal. If I'm turned down on an NIL deal, the first thing I'm going to do, Rob, is I'm filing an injunction against it. I want my money, right? And I think that's just going to become commonplace as we're already seeing, the NC or this controlling arm not move very fast on some things, and they're saying, well, if you haven't heard anything, then that means something's been rejected. Well, what if a kid's already gotten some money? Now you're going to go back to that kid and say, hey, you got to repay because we've decided that it doesn't. Danny White said it best at the Big Orange Caravan. I hope it works. But he cast a big old shadow of, I don't know that it's going to work. And I think as we get to the middle part of July, I think we all understand that shadow. I think we're all kind of getting a grasp of exactly why there's so much skepticism. And hey, there's been a couple of people in the last week that have come out and spoke positively about collective bargaining outside of Danny White. So we'll see what that boils down to and what all that looks like moving forward. There's a lot to get to with some of that stuff in SEC Media Days. But before we get to that, Eric, I do want to hit on Tennessee and the baseball draft. First of all, hats off to Tony Vitello, who dominated draft coverage yet again. What a great recruiting tool for Tony Vitello. He goes to the UFC fight in his cowboy hat and gets all the publicity on Saturday night, and he spends the day on the set talking about his program because they were in the news an awful lot in the first round, a record-setting first round for Tennessee in the draft. It just is a reminder of what he's been able to accomplish at Tennessee in his time in terms of roster assembly and recruiting. But it feels like, I won't say it went chalk, Eric, but it feels like it kind of went best case scenario early in the draft. I know we're not done as we're recording this on Monday. There's lots of things that could still happen in the draft. But overall, it feels like it was a solid win for the Tennessee baseball program. Publicity of guys getting drafted, but you didn't exactly lose everybody you were hoping to get to campus, right?
Yeah, as only Grant Ramey would do, he tweeted out the image of the Major League Baseball draft, and then below it said presented by Tennessee Volunteers. That's what it felt like on Sunday night with Tony on stage. And you want to know why they keep asking him to come back and do it? Because he's so good in that role. And you know that other SEC coaches and other college baseball coaches are sitting there just fuming. But nobody's got the personality, the charisma, knowledge. People got parts of that, but all together, Tony's got it, and he does such a phenomenal job in that role. But up there on the stage, Tennessee has, goodness gracious, fourth straight year of at least 8 draft picks, 2 draft picks on opening night that tied 8 draft picks on opening night was just 2 shy of the program record. Program record 4 draft picks in the first round. Program record 2 first round pitchers picks. Most of any SEC team with 8 picks in the first 3 rounds. We can go on and on. I'm going to put out a notebook tomorrow or earlier or sometime today. But no, it was a really good day for Tennessee. Liam Doyle was going to go high. We knew Steele Hall and Billy Carlson, the 2 high school signees, were going to go high there in the teens somewhere. They were at 9 and 10 consecutively. Gavin Keelan, top 15 pick. Andrew Fisher went higher than expected. Going to be a first rounder, but he went 20th overall. Marcus Phillips sneaks into the first round. That's awesome. And again, if you want to buy stock in somebody, I mean, it's Marcus Phillips. He's got everything you want in makeup, and he's still so raw in his development. That just a kudos to what Frank Anderson did with him in a short amount of time. But A.J. Russell, Dean Curley, Tanner Franklin, second-round picks. Nate Snead, the last pick of the night on opening night. And then, of course, we're on into Monday, and some things are happening. But phenomenal day in the early stages. It went as well as you could possibly want it to go, knowing you were going to take a loss somewhere, right? And that loss was Cruz Schoolcraft. This dude was mocked as high as 11. He had a high asking price. He had leverage because he can come to Tennessee and play, be a two-way guy. But he went 25th overall. Him and the Padres got it done. Of course, he's going to sign and go and begin his professional career. That was a 50-50 battle at best to get him to campus. We've noted that in the war room. A lot of people I spoke to said probably still 60-40. I don't see that happening. He's a first rounder. So opening night for the Major League Baseball draft was literally a 5-hour infomercial on the Tennessee Volunteers. A lot of people were making that joke on the board. I completely agree. I mean, Tennessee dominated the night. It was a great night for the program. And again, it just kind of goes to show you with all these program records being broken year after year, what Tony Vitello and his staff have accomplished here.
But, I mean, listen, for the Tennessee fan, it's great. They're all happy about the guys who are getting opportunities. They want to know what the roster is going to look like next year, right? They want to look like, what does this team look like? I mean, Henry Ford, that seems much more positive about him potentially being on Tennessee's team next year, as well as other transfers. I mean, it feels like for what Tennessee was hoping to get to campus, it's for the most part been a win to this point.
Yeah, to this point, again, real time, we're at the 262nd overall pick in the 9th round, so things can still happen, but Henry Ford's name has not been called. Slot values go away. You remember Jared Dickey a couple of years ago, he was picked in the 11th round, and they paid him a ton of money because the slot values go away. So, not out of the woods yet at the time of this recording, but Henry Ford has not been announced. Cameron Appenzeller, who was another one of those big lefty signees along with Cruz Schoolcraft, has not been announced. You went from a situation where you had no lefties essentially on your roster to Brandon Arvinson, who confirmed to me that he was coming back on Monday, okay, and he came along at the end of the year. Evan Blanco, okay, Mark Hindy, he's kind of the situational guy, to Cameron Appenzeller and a couple other guys. I mean, yeah, things have gone very, very well. You lost Mason Estrada, a junior college commit, and that was expected. You lost that was a 50-50 thing here. You lost Matt Barr, who was a junior college commit. He was going pro the entire time, so that's not a shock whatsoever. Your one loss, again, Cruz Schoolcraft, you got a big win so far on Monday, and Brandon Arvinson. So it's been a really, really good draft so far for Tennessee, and this roster, again, is shaping up to be really, really good. The pitching staff looks so much better than what it did 2 weeks ago. I mean, when you have 20 pitchers leave your program, you're kind of sitting here like, oh, what are they going to do? Well, it took a little time, but yeah, it's looking really, really good right now.
It's pretty amazing, Rob and Austin, what this program has done. I mean, it used to be that the Major League Baseball draft was nobody even knew what dates it was. It didn't even. I mean, it wasn't relevant, right?
We are on page 17 of a draft right now, day 2. That's pretty phenomenal on the GQ right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing, Rob. We all know Tony Vitello's winning, but it's the depth of the program and the publicity that the program gets almost year round now. Pretty crazy what he's got done in the period of time at Tennessee.
Well, I tell people all the time, it's amazing. I mean, 20 years ago, even 15 years ago, it just didn't move the needle at all. I mean, there was no chatter, no buzz. I mean, people didn't care. It was friends and family, basically in the stands. I mean, what Tony has done in generating interest and making it a thing. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. I mean, from nothing, from absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Austin, when you look at it, I mean, it's not just Tony. I mean, and it's not just Frank Anderson either. I think you have to give credit to all the pieces that are in Tony's program, which to Tony's credit, he has always praised all the pieces to his program, whether it's Q as the strength coach, his help in recruiting, the other position coaches out there. I mean, it's a thing. Like it's something that I never envisioned would ever be a thing at Tennessee to this level.
Well, I mean, how many times have you heard Elander's name get brought up the last couple of years, and then he's waiting on the right job. He doesn't want to just take anything just to be a head coach, and he's very comfortable being, the right-hand man to Tony Vitello and going that direction. And you're right. I mean, it's Q, the strength coach, it's Elander, it's Frank, it's Kivett. I mean, it's everybody involved. And Tony, to his credit, he knows he's going to get a lot of the praise regardless. So he is very, open about getting or giving out praise to all the players and or coaches that we just mentioned.
That's why, he's mentioned to me in the past. Tony's the highest paid college coach in America, and deservedly so. I mean, he's 5 straight supers, national champion. I mean, the list goes on and on. The investment that the school has made into baseball the last couple of years, you could make the case. I mean, depending if you look at it all together, it's the most investment into a baseball program in the country with the head coach, keeping him here, paying him what he deserves, your stadium renovations, actually having something you can be proud of, where you are in name, image, and likeness, where you are in revenue sharing. I mean, there's a lot of programs that aren't, having baseball or sports like baseball even in that conversation, right? I mean, again, we were talking about this earlier. There's a lot of unknowns right now, but I can tell you this: Henry Ford is not coming to Tennessee for free. Landon Mack is not coming to Tennessee for free. Andrew Fisher did not come to Tennessee for free. So if you take and his staff, look at his staff, and then look at his support staff. Look at how many former, college assistants or head coaches or all that is filled on his support staff. The investment into the baseball program here at Tennessee, from Tony Vitello all the way down to, Chad Zurcher and Adam Lowe and all those guys. I mean, it's it's pretty impressive. And of course, the proof's in the pudding. They won a whole lot of games, and they've won a whole lot of postseason games.
Well, and the other proof in the pudding is they got a bunch of guys playing high-level baseball and Major League Baseball, and a quick path to get there. I mean, guys have not listen. You look at the arms. How many of the arms that are playing and pitching high-level minor league baseball, Eric, or in the major leagues, that their arms are in good shape, that they haven't had a bunch of issues at the pro level because of the way that they were trained and developed here. You look at the fast track Christian Moore has had, others have had to get to the major league level. When you talk about why do transfers want to come here, why is a high school guy willing to pass up on some Major League Baseball money to come here for 2 years? The proof says your stock is going to be better when you're draft eligible again if you play at Tennessee. That's the best recruiting pitch that Tony Vitello has for players out there. No offense to winning. It's where guys are after spending time in this program. It's 1 year for Liam Doyle as a transfer. It's a high school kid 2 years later where they're at after being in this program. That's the winning edge Vitello has over so many of his competitors, even in the SEC right now. Yeah,
I mean, look at Liam Doyle. Again, the guy had a 5+ ERA last year. Or maybe it was high fours. It was 5 something in SEC play. Tony Vitello said it on set the other night. It was like he was his own worst enemy at Ole Miss. I mean, he got tired. He was out of shape. He couldn't finish games. And you see what he was, which, again, Tennessee wouldn't have taken if they didn't see something in him. Obviously, he had a lot of stuff. But you see where he was, and then you see what he ended up at Tennessee. Look at Andrew Fisher as well. Andrew Fisher, we were making jokes. He was going to be a 3,100 guy, 30 home runs, 100 strikeouts or something, when he got to Tennessee. I mean, the guy walked more than he struck out. He reached base in every single game. I mean, these guys got better. They became first-rounders. So you're exactly right. We talk about it in the transfer portal, with Josh Heupel in football all the time. Why wouldn't you want to come to Tennessee? You're going to win, and you're going to get developed, and you're going to get the benefit of the doubt in these draft conversations because Garrett Crochet, again, he wasn't here the entire time with Tony, but arguably the best pitcher in Major League Baseball right now, right? Christian Moore just made his Major League Baseball debut. Ben Joyce, Ben Joyce and Chase Dolander, so I was trying to say, he's debuted this year. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of guys up there. So again, proof's in the pudding.
You just took the Volquest model. I think I came over, Rob, years ago for like some Pal's French fries and a haircut. And we got Matt Ray for 20% off Western Sizzling coupon and a tank of gas.
The pride of Copper Hill, Matt Ray, that's for sure. So we'll continue to follow Tennessee baseball in the draft, and it's interesting what this roster is going to look like, how you manage the numbers, and all those types of things. That's going to be the next few weeks for Tony Vitello and his program. Eric's going to have you continue to cover that. He had great draft coverage all weekend long. He'll continue to look at that, continue to look at this roster and where it's at. We'll turn our attention here at the end of the podcast for a few minutes on the SEC and SEC media days, and Rob, I'm trying to try not to get a soapbox here, but I'm going to read a quote. And this is kind of the nutshell of where I think we are in college athletics right now. Let's take an inventory of all that's happening around college sports and college football right now. We have congressional activity. We wonder what might be the next state law to be introduced or the next lawsuit. We're interested in litigation that has resulted in individuals being eligible to participate in college sports well into their mid-20s. That starts to remove opportunities for aspiring high school athletes. There are opportunities around collective bargaining, or opinions around collective bargaining, opinions around the size of the NCAA tournament. There are outcomes for what's called the NCAA Division I decision-making working group. All of that jarble from the commissioner to kick off SEC media days tells me we're not anywhere on anything right now. And as a college fan of college athletics, it's about as frustrating as it gets to know that you're still not anywhere. You're not anywhere different than you were 2 years ago. You could take that quote 2 years ago and stick it out there, and it's the same thing, which to me is the most mind-boggling thing we are when you're talking about the billion-dollar industry that is college athletics.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's frustrating for a lot of people, and I mean, and I think the key is the billions of dollars. I mean, I think people at the end of the day, do you think, or at least to me, I think it's people in back rooms fighting over how they're going to split all that up, and how that includes the playoff, the house settlement, NIL, rev sharing, all that is just the pie is so big, and I think people are squabbling over how much of it they're going to get. And you're right. I mean, 2 years later, it might even be more confusing than it was 2 years. I mean, seriously, than it was 2 years ago. I mean, it's certainly not any better.
No, I think there's more. I think there's more things that are up and debated right now, right? I mean, you've got potential for private equity out there. The SEC still doesn't know, Austin, if they're going to play 8 or 9 games. You got no idea on whether they're going to get a 5th year of eligibility, when that might happen. I mean, I think there's more questions. I don't think we're moving anywhere near. And listen, I'll give Greg Sankey credit. He stands at the podium anytime there's cameras. He talks. I'm not saying he answers a whole lot, but he does talk. And when you get through listening to him, reading his quotes or whatever, you come away with there's more questions than answers seemingly every year. And it seems like we're moving in that direction with everything from scheduling to playoff size to financing and everything else.
Agreed. I mean, they continue to, kind of kick the can down the road with different topics. But at the end of the day, you would like to see some real movement there, whether it is going to collective bargaining, whether it is the SEC going to 9 or saying, hey, we're firm on 8. We're sticking at 8. Just little things. I mean, the ability to transfer, I will contend, is still the main topic for me in all of college sports. You should be able to do one do-over. One I messed up. Get a second chance. This whole, they can transfer as many times as they want. And there's 48 different windows to transfer in. That's to me what's killing it for fans.
Well, I mean, I think it's not just – I think that's killing it for fans. I think – and, again, I think the other thing that's killing it for fans is what we're talking about. There's just – do something. Make some kind of decision, Eric. I mean, whether it's the right one or the wrong one.
Sometimes Switzerland's not good, Hubs. Sometimes Switzerland is not good.
We have been talking about 8 or 9 conference games literally for 3 years. We've been talking about the 1-7 model, the 3-6 model, whatever it is. I mean, we've had these conferences. Who's Tennessee going to play? Who's Tennessee return? 3rd Saturday in October. Tennessee Vanderbilt. Is it going to be Tennessee, Florida, Kentucky, South Carolina? I mean, we've had these conversations for 3 years, and we're still having these conversations because nobody can make a decision. But they got to make a decision on the CFP because until that happens, they're not going to make a decision on the conference games for Tennessee, and that's the biggest thing. Just figure it out. I mean, Sankey and the Big Ten commissioner can't agree on the view of the CFP. I mean, stick it with 12 and just roll with it. I mean, let's figure this thing out.
No, and that's basically, Rob, what Sankey said is that we're fine with 12. We'll just roll with 12. Like we've spent the last 6 months talking about expansion and getting it somewhere, and now as you get ready to head to August, you're just like, we'll just stay where we're at. We're good.
I mean, depending on the day of the week or whatever, one topic might be more maddening than another. But as you're talking about, we're getting ready to start, college football season again, and how controversial was the playoff seeding and format, last year, and we don't have resolution on that after, everybody in the media, in the sport was, had an opinion or was up in arms.
They corrected that, right, Brent, to where they're going to seed.
The seeding is corrected, but still the 5-11 or the 4-4-2-2-2 stuff is still out.
Yeah. Well, and that's where Sankey said, he talks to the commissioners every day. I'm not sure what they talk about. Right? Talk about what you had for lunch. If you're talking every day and there's no answer, there's no resolution to anything, like what are you talking about? At some point, and again, I'm going to sound preachy, and I apologize to everyone watching, or listening. It's like, here he goes again. But Danny White talks about the different hats, right? You wear the Tennessee hat, and everything you're fighting for is for Tennessee. And then sometimes you got to take that hat off and fight for the bigger picture for college athletics and go from there. These commissioners at some point is going to have to take a hat off and say, you know what, we might have to give a little to get where we need to get college athletics.
Nobody's
willing to give an inch on anything. And that's the problem. And it's not just Greg Sankey. I'll put all the conference commissioners in that. And that's why no one believes there's any resolutions coming, because you don't have a leader in college athletics who's not invested into a specific conference. And you're going to give the Big Ten and the SEC all the power. Well, they're in a Cold War on many topics, right? They're just like, hey, I'm going to stand my ground. I'm not giving anything. Brett McMurphy had this tweet earlier on Monday. Greg Sankey, college athletics is not broken. It's under stress. West Virginia head coach Rich Rodriguez, it's a cluster. You got one person who is not necessarily, he's not in the trenches of it all every day. No offense to Greg Sankey, who's looking at it from a different viewpoint and go, it's got some stress. You got a guy who's in it every day who's going, it's a mess. I think if you went and polled coaches around the country in all sports at the Power 4 level, how many of them are going to tell you, hey, it's all good. We're good. No. We like where we're at. Everything's fine. It's going well.
It's easy to sit in the ivory tower. I see this every day in corporate America at different walks. It's easy to sit in the ivory tower. You better get out and be in the streets. You better get out there, and you better be with the people that are, doing it on a daily basis. The problem is much of these college coaches don't want to tell Greg Sankey some of the things that it takes to get some of these things done behind the scenes that they're having to do, because that's what is required, because he's the commissioner. So thus he thinks everything is probably, it's a little hectic, but it's not too bad. And then they're down there sitting in the eye of the hurricane.
It's crazy where it's at right now. So, we'll see. Again, I think Greg Sankey spent about 30 minutes talking today, and you walked away from his conversation that he had with the media, and you have more questions than you had before you started the conversation or started the press conference there. Clearly, they can't even come up with dates for the transfer portal for this coming year, when that's going to be. They still haven't gotten to that point yet. So, I think we're a long way.
Critical.
Which is what?
Which is fairly critical. Turn the lights off.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is. I think that's kind of important, and I think you're going to hear by the time you watch and listen to this podcast, if you haven't already. I think you're going to hear Kirby Smart talk about that again on Tuesday, and you'll hear other coaches talk about that. Tennessee meets the media today, and their lap around the world, the car wash that is SEC Media Days. Lots of conversations about the quarterback, I'm sure. What do we think? What do we think Tennessee's? We think Josh Heupel is going to get through unscathed. Rob Lewis not going to get. I'm just going to leave it in a vacuum like there's no resolutions to anything about anything with his program? Will he be able to pull off his, I'm going to be the nice guy who says nothing for 4 or 5 hours all day long?
Yeah, I think he will. I don't think he'll give anything away. Nobody will have a clue about the pecking order at quarterback if there is one. And I think he's pretty good at that.
I mean, he's done it for 4 seasons. Yeah, I mean, you go to a press conference,
he gets out of his lane.
Go ahead, Austin.
I was going to say, I think he's going to get super frustrated because with us, it was easy to say, all right, here's my statement on Nico, blah. Every room he goes in down there, there's going to be 14 questions about Nico. And I think I'm interested to see if he can hold it together through all that. Because at some point, do you just get frustrated with it? Because you want to talk about your team, not somebody else.
I think he'll have a canned answer for that. Like, talk about the guys that are here or, something like that.
Maybe.
I mean, I think it'll be clear he's frustrated, but I think he'll have a pat response to all the Nico stuff.
How's his tone though when he says that canned response for the 14th
time?
Now
that, I think you'll see some frustration, but I just don't think he'll go.
And I mean, like the way Atlanta's set up, and I mean was like this in Hoover too. I mean, you got Radio Row over here, you got the podiums over here, you got the old print digital media room over here. So like, not everybody's hearing everything, but I mean, eventually, like. You would assume he's been asked about Nico Iamaleava before, but anyway, it'll be interesting. But I'm intrigued. I mean, there's so many questions about Tennessee, obviously, but is Josh Heupel going to shed any light on the quarterback competition? Probably not, because again, I mean, they haven't even had practice yet, so like there's a lot to be determined there. Brent, you wrote about this. How healthy is Jermon McCoy? How healthy is Miles Kitselman? How healthy is your football team? Young wide receivers, offensive linemen. I mean, there's a lot of questions to go around. That's for sure.
Well, and what we do know is Josh Heupel, where he is not going to offer any opinion, Austin, is on big pictures of things. I mean, he didn't do any media at spring meetings in Destin. He's not one to get on a public soapbox about whatever frustrations he has or whatever he, in terms of, do you think there should be a collective bargaining agreement? Do you think about this in the transfer portal? I think he will be, I mean, that's not his forte. And he's on a day where there's some other guys going to make more news. I mean, he probably likes being the undercard, right? Because Kirby Smart's going to be Kirby Smart. The whole world of Hugh Freeze is whatever that mess is right now, right?
Undercard, underdog, all those things sum up Heupel in Tennessee heading into this SEC media days.
Yeah, and I think they certainly like it and are certainly appreciative of that. Are you guys surprised, as we get ready to wrap it up here, are you surprised UCLA's taken Nico to Big Ten Media Day? No. And what do you think is going to come out of the storyline of that deal a week from now when they roll into town? That'll be his first public comments about going to UCLA. I'm sure he'll have a canned answer. Does he stay with that, or does that become – is Tennessee more in the news a week from now because of Nico than they're going to be in the news this week in Atlanta at SEC Media Days?
Rob, I'm not surprised because, I mean, the 4 of us plus 2 more, I mean, that's your media contingent there at the, at some of those, So, I mean, not necessarily Big Ten. I guess that's different. They're not the Pac-12 anymore. But to Brent's point, I do think Tennessee's going to be in the news next week for sure because just like Josh Heupel, Nico's going to be asked about it repeatedly. And he'll have a canned answer, but I mean, people are going to press, and we'll see if people are going to try to get him to crack a little bit to know exactly what happened. What was the story? Was it you? Was it somebody else? All that and more. I think there will be some headlines certainly next week about Tennessee in regards to Nico Iamaleava.
I predict he'll get savaged by a writer or two, or his maybe not him so much as his father.
Yeah, I mean, I think there'll be news certainly coming out of that. There'll be more. There may be as much talk about Tennessee next week, Austin, as there is this week in Atlanta at SEC Media Day. So we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, plenty of things going on the recruiting side of things. Austin seems to be slowing down, but there's some things to watch as early as this week with some guys, as you mentioned earlier in the podcast. We'll continue to follow all of that for you. The draft continues. I mean, do they just draft and there's nobody left, Eric? How long does this draft last?
I mean, we're about to enter round 10, and it's 2:40 in the afternoon. I mean, this thing's going to go on until like 6 o'clock at night. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So we'll have all the draft coverage for you. throughout at Volquest as it finishes up on Monday. So we got that. Rob, basketball is in an evaluation period, looking at some high school guys. Who knows what happens with the kid from the Israeli, the kid that played on the Israeli team? What's going to happen with that? Is there any more roster movement for this team, or is it all about the future in basketball? This is a pretty busy time for the basketball side of things right now in terms of recruiting to kind of get out there. At least it has been. I don't know when it opens back up, but there's a lot happening in basketball, even though it's the middle of July.
Yeah, last week, big evaluation window, Peach Jam in Nike. Coach Barnes was out on the road, seeing some guys did not go out in the spring. So, and he went to the NBA camp in June. But, yeah, Coach was out hitting the recruiting trail. They'll bring some guys in August for some official visits starting towards the end of the month. And yeah, the Bird kid, the Israeli guy, that's an eligibility NCAA issue that I don't think that anybody really has a firm timetable for that. But I mean, I think there are several kids.
How could you?
Yeah, I think there are several kids in that boat now that have played professionally, a couple, maybe a year or two in Europe or, overseas somewhere, that because of the NIL situation now, they can make more money, playing in college. So I think there's a couple of guys going through that. And like I said, I don't think Tennessee has a great idea for when that might get resolved, but they're certainly monitoring it.
All right, we'll see what happens with that. We'll continue to follow that, continue to follow recruiting. We'll have everything for you throughout the day today, from Tennessee's appearance in Atlanta at SEC Media Days, and then obviously get you ready with positional previews coming up starting the weekend, and we'll continue our opponent previews up until then as well. So lots of things happening at Volquest.com. It's a great time to check us out. Don't forget to take advantage of all the deals we've got going on for you there. Plenty of things going on. We've got the new Rivals 300 that's out. With plenty of details on that as well. So be sure and check us out. It's a great time to be a part of the family as we get ready to start fall camp. That's going to do it for this Tuesday edition of the Volquest.com podcast. He's Rob Lewis, Eric Kane, and Austin Price. I'm Brent Hubbs. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, everybody.